ally turned nemesis Johnston Muthama clashed openly over the Ukambani region's political course. Muthama told Kalonzo to work with Deputy President William Ruto, but the former Vice President would have none of it, dismissing the proposal and adding that he cannot deputize Ruto because he is senior to him. Listen.
Karibuni sana wageni wetu.
Gavana wa Nairobi, gavana na nitachapa siasa na nitasimama ona munene waga mutabia ti nasa ninatindia tuunde chama kimoja tuunganishe ODM, Ford Kenya, Wiper na ANC, lakini sikusikizwa na nundu inoni ya mundu kuitwa Ruto kwenda tuse ubye chama.
And you know, there are serious issues in this country because Muthama has now confirmed that him and Deputy President are forming a party. Now, at a situation when the Deputy President, it's a constitutional thing, when the Deputy President is a deputy of the Republic of Kenya under the Jubilee Party. You people under my media, you have a lot of information to give to this country. I don't want anybody now. I will be the negotiator on my own behalf.
So he says he does not want anybody to negotiate for him, and he's tired of being bought like cattle in the marketplace. I want to ask to get into that and discuss about the Kamba Nation and what's happening there politically going into 2022. Mark, I want to begin with you, but before we get into that, very quickly, I have to give you your right of reply. Kipchumba Karori accused you of defending corruption. Just 40 seconds only. What do you have to say to that?
Ben, I don't even need 40 seconds because I am very clear in my mind. Number one, I said there is corruption. Number two, I stated that the ESCC, the DCI, and the Auditor General are investigating that corruption. Now, my contention is this: the over-sensationalization of this corruption is going to cost this country. Okay, there's corruption in this country, but when you try to muddy everything, that is how the corrupt go scot-free. And that is what we need to focus on. We need to find the problem, specify the problem, and solve the problem. So I'm not here trying to defend corruption. I'm here trying to defend the institutions that fight against corruption and trying to call our journalists and my co-panelists to stick to the truth. And the truth is apparent and obvious. That's it.
All right, well said. Thank you for that. Let's get into Ukambani. Give me your crystal ball of the happenings there.
Well, there are two things that are happening there, Ben, that are quite clear. Number one, it is Kalonzo Musyoka's fight to remain as the Cumberland Supremo, facing an onslaught of two governors who are finishing their terms. That's the Machakos governor and Professor Kibuta Kibwana in Kibwezi. Now, the problem with that is Kalonzo Musyoka has been in the political dark for a while, and he cannot seem to find his footing and show his people that he needs to remain as kingpin. Now he's facing this onslaught, and at the same time, one of his chief backers, Muthama, seems to have moved camp and has been seen hanging out with Boni Khalwale and the former senator for Mombasa. Now, what that does is that it puts Kalonzo both in a financial and political quagmire, and he needs to somehow find a way of seeming to stand firm, which is why he comes out to say that he is senior and it is him to be courted and not for him to be sold like cows in a market, as he said it. So what is critical and key for Kalonzo Musyoka is he's trying to find a way of remaining relevant and trying to find a way of fighting his way back to where he's supposed, where he thinks he's supposed to be. Whether he'll be able to do that it remains to be seen, because as we know, 2022 is anyone's game, and he seems to be standing on very shaky ground as it is, both financially and politically speaking.
All right, Kipchumba Karori, let me come to you. Kalonzo Musyoka seems to be facing a kind of uphill task to keep his voting bloc, his major voting bloc together. Kivutha Kibwana, the Makueni governor, has thrown his name into the hat. He wants to run for the presidency in 2022. There's a root of factor where we are seeing some of Kalonzo's traditional supporters having their heads turned. Does Kalonzo still have the hold on his home turf from where he sits?
I think I will hate to be Kalonzo Musyoka in the current political scenario for two reasons. One, Kalonzo Musyoka is a person who, from where I sit, he cannot buy Mudhama's advice on a simple reason. One, Kalonzo Musyoka is a senior politician. That is given because of age, not senior because of any other great service to the nation. But the other point is this. The only route of Kalonzo Musyoka, apart from the Katikati route, the only route viable for him to presidency is by hoping that Uhuru Kenyatta will master enough political capital that he will endorse him in 2022. I don't see him being the man going to the next election who will stand and give the Kamba nation a direction in politics. Look at this. When you go back to Kamba politics, you have to realize that we have around 5 blocks in Kamba politics. There is the Kalonzo block under Wiper. There is a block revolving around Sonko. There is one under Governor Mutua. There is another one under Ngilu. And then there is the emerging one under Mudhama and Kiala. You have to realize that when doing politics in ethno-majoritarian system as ours, you must know that the right nation must be humming in one direction for you to come and lay stake in the state. And the state here being Kenya. The Kamba nation does not stand a chance with the 5 kind of political persuasions they have currently. And the other thing that you have to realize when you look at the Kalonzo onslaught with Mudhama is that there is a generational change. The wind of generational change is blowing in Ukambani. And it is incumbent upon Kalonzo Musyoka to smell the coffee and realize that where he is heading now, he must prepare to be a transitional Kamba leader, not a lifetime kingpin, because his kingpinship and his kingmanship there is no longer tenable. And that is...
All right. You seem to be losing Kipchumba there, but he was making a point. I wanted to ask him about the 5 blocks in Ukambani that he's talking about, but we'll get him back. Let me bring you into this, Roslyn. You've been covering these stories. From what has been happening with the lawmakers that we have in Parliament from the Ukambani region, of course, the latest very big national issue is a revenue sharing formula that has been stuck in the Senate. What is a correlation between the elected leadership in Ukambani and the general politics, of course, being propagated by the Wiper Party, which is a dominant party there, and its party leader, Kalonzo Musyoka?
Ben, if you look at what has been happening, I think Kalonzo has squandered his opportunity to actually rally the Kamba community behind him. Because if you go to the Senate, we have 3 senators from that region, and 2 senators are from Wiper Party, that is Mutula Kilonzo and Enoch Wambua. And even if you go with the debate on the revenue formula, they have stood their grounds for equity and under Team Kenya. But we have not had a voice from Kalonzo, who is the party leader. And this just boils down to him losing this opportunity to stamp his authority. If you look at sometimes back when the Wiper NEC met and they decided that they're now going to proceed and sign post-election agreement with Jubilee, you remember the first person who opposed that was a vice chair of the party, who is Mutula Kilonzo Jr., and he said, I was not part of that meeting. Now, when you find that your party officials are actually not aware of what is happening and are actually in the dark, then it means that even within your stronghold, people are pulling from different sides. So if you look at what Wakili was talking about, that this is a time that you will have taken this opportunity and become a transitional leader, I think I agree with him, because this handshake appears to have actually thrown Kalonzo in the woods, because if you look at even the current political discourse, we find him missing. The current stalemate on the revenue formula, we have not had him come out and take a stand. And this is a time you actually define leaders and you see who are the leaders that will take you to the promised land, because we are looking for 2022 elections. And if he's supposed to rally the Ukambani voting bloc, even if not to go for the presidency, if it is about negotiating with whoever is going to run for that presidency, then he must come with a bloc, and he cannot come as an individual. Because if you look at now, he's only commanding the 2 counties. Because if you look at Machakos, we have Mutua, who is completing his 2nd term and has declared that he's going to run for the presidency. We have Ngilu, who has just started her 1st term, but is also charting her own political path. Then we have Kivuta Kibwana, who has actually declared that he will run for the presidency. So if you look at all this, then you ask yourself, where is Kalonzo in all this mix? Because lately we've only been seeing him receiving delegations and engaging in receiving donations for the COVID-19 pandemic. But we have not seen him coming to discuss real issues touching on Mwananchi, real issues that will make us feel that he's actually in there and he's actually playing his politics. If you go again to the funeral where they had clashed with Mudama, you heard him saying that he took him to the wrong path. Twice he was convinced to become Raila's running mate, and see where he has landed. Now this time round he will negotiate directly. Does it mean that he will negotiate again to run as a running mate, or is going to negotiate to become the party flag bearer and have who will run with him alongside?
All right. Gloria, what is your crystal ball telling you on this?
Well, we are tired of ethnic kingpins. That's what I get from all of this. And Kalonzo actually represents an ethnical kingpin. So, and Mudama is not the first person to actually to go against Kalonzo, because you can think Kibuta Kibwana, Alfred Mutua. I mean, he's not a popular person in the aspect of as a leader. So one thing I want to highlight, though, is that the people are starting to respond to devolution, because what devolution has done, it's actually brought governance down to where the people can feel it. And Kalonzo Musyoka, unfortunately, has not necessarily positioned himself well with the people. He's not really known to stand for anything. If he often is trying to broker deals, trying to sit on the fence so that he can appear that he's the one representing the Kamba people. But my understanding of what is happening in Ukambani is that the politics is shifting from ethnical kingpins to issue-based. And we've seen Alfred Mutua trying to tap into that new age kind of political thinking of addressing the youth demography, of addressing issue-based things. So I think Kalonzo should just wake up from the sleep that he is in, because it's no longer about brokering or negotiating to be brought to the table. It's about delivering to the people, and then the people will vote for you. Why is he talking about that he will not allow for someone else to negotiate for him because he has felt that he has been, shortchanged? This is not about negotiate. Let him come out and speak to the people and tell the people what he can do. But unfortunately, the people already know Kalonzo Musyoka will not deliver anything for them. And so that's why he is sort of lost in this whole political match, because he doesn't belong on issue-based. He doesn't belong, just lost. Yeah, that's my take.
All right. Do you think what you're saying about politics changing, the winds changing, from ethnic-based inclinations to issue-based politics, if that is what's happening would be great. Do you think then that we'll see this across the country? We've seen some. We know some regions where we know how they vote. Their vote as a bloc. Do you think that those are going to disintegrate then?
As much as we still have that tribal politics going on in different regions, whether it's from Western or even from the coast, the issue is people are more aware. So it does add value that you belong in a certain tribe and you want to, sway that tribe to vote in a certain direction. But what is now happening is that Kenyans are starting to look at things from an issue perspective. And it will help, yes, that you are from, if, for instance, I'm from Kisii County, it will help that I'm from Kisii County. But they're not only looking at that. Kenyans are now looking at, even if you're from here, we've already had people from here who have represented us and they've not really done anything. They've not brought development into our communities. So the question then goes to what more can you do? And that's the issue that Kalonzo is facing. We can't really trace any successes in his political career. As my colleague would say, Oliver said, that he's a senior veteran politician just based on his age, but not necessarily what he has achieved within this long term, because we know he sits on the fence. He doesn't really stand for any ideologies. He is the politician, or that whichever the direction the wind is blowing, he will just go whichever favors his personal interest. And Kenyans are tired of that. And even his ethnical kingpin personality that he's trying to put is no longer selling him, because now we have the likes of Kivutha Kibwana, we have the likes of Alfred Mutua trying to say, pass over the baton to younger generational leaders. So I think he needs to revisit his think tank so that they can advise him how to change his political activities, how to change his political brand, because that brand is not selling. And it's not only in his region, it's not selling on a national platform. And that's why he can never be president of this country.
Thank you, Gloria. Very well said there. Mark, let me come to you. From the general view that is coming from the discussion, and I know you don't like the politics of kingpins and such, but it is what it is. There are voting blocks in this country. Do you think then, going into 2022, a lot of people eyeing the presidency will be looking at Ukambani and saying that it is up for grabs, that it's almost a kind of a swing vote?
Ben, it is a foregone conclusion that Kalonzo Musyoka's fortunes within the Kamba community are on the decline. And the truth of the matter is, as my co-panelists have said, that he does have stiff competition from the different governors, including Gideon Buvisonko, who is even thinking of taking a stab at Ukambani politics. So the Kalonzo Musyoka he's a cat with nine lights. I do not know why he's made it this far politically.
But let me ask you this. Let me interrupt you a bit. When you guys say that, what are you basing this on? Which numbers are you basing this on that Kivutha has, or the Machakos governor has in Ukambani?
Well, the numbers are based on this. If you look at how many seats in Ukambani, both at MCA level, MP level, and Senate level, that Kalonzo Musyoka was unable to hold together. If you look at the comparative vote between 2013 and 2017, if you look at those two numbers, you see definitely that Kalonzo's Wiper Party does not have the dominance it enjoyed in 2013. And that is the statistical on which I'm basing it. The other reason why I'm basing it, I'm saying this also, is simply because whenever you see a leader having people within his own party ranks arguing with him and falling out of rank with him, if you look at Ngilu stepping out in her own political party, if you look at Kivutha Kibwana openly defying him, if you look at Machakos, where Alfred Mutua has his own party and won an election using his own party, then definitely Kalonzo Musyoka's fortunes are on the decline. And as Kipchumba correctly said, the winds of change are indeed sweeping over Ukambani. And I hope that they remain that way. Let them have as many kingpins as possible, because as I've said before, there's no need for a tribe to vote as a bloc. There's no need at all. There's no benefit to it at all. Let them go the way of the Luya, where Luyas vote for different people for different reasons, and that's what democracy is about. All
right. Kipchumba, give me, you did get cut off when you were giving us your thoughts. Please finish giving us that and tell me this. Do you think, the presidential hopefuls will be seeing Ukambani as up for grabs?
Ben, looking at, actually, I was still expressing my sincere empathy with Kalonzo Musyoka, his political career. But it is also sad in this day and era to see Kalonzo Musyoka belaboring the point of being a kingpin. But when we go to the next polls, Ben, and keeping everything constant, although we are told politics changes so faster than the clouds, is that if everything was to remain constant and the dispensation retained as is, there will be only 2 candidates to beat in the next election. I'm not saying the others will not be presidential candidates. Even Kipchumba can.
All right, you need to check your Wi-Fi, your connection there. Rosalind, have the final say on this. We are getting so many views. Do you think the politics of this country are changing as it is being said?
Yeah, I've heard my fellow panelists talking about the politics changing, but I beg to differ. Because if you looked, even now as we are having issues, the politics, we hear about people going back again to their tribal cocoons and trying to rally their members. You've seen the deputy president going back home to Rift Valley to rally his people. The central Kenya region saying that they will not back the deputy president in 2022. This just tells you that the politics of this country are based on tribal cocoons and building of kingpins. Now, if you talk about the issues of the politics of issues, yes, there are issues that are raised, like we say that Kalonzo is not so much vocal in terms of political discourse in the country. But again, when it comes to 2022, it will start from his backyard. What is he bringing on the table? It will not start on how much he engaged in the national politics, how much he engaged the government of the day, how much he stood for the interest of the people, but it will be how much his people have put trust in him to lead that region. So even as we look at politics and as we push, because listen to this. Most of the people who talk about issues are the youth. When it comes to the elections, how many youths turn up to vote? Most of the time are the traditional voters who turn out to vote. Currently, if you look at the voter register, we have 19,000 registered voters. How many turned up to vote? There are hardly 10,000. So that tells you that those who actually turn up to vote are actually the traditional voting blocks who actually still believe that you start with your own person, then you engage the others. And even in terms of our elections, a single political party cannot carry the day. We have seen in the subsequent elections, it's about coalitions. Thank you.
All right. We'll wait to see what happens going into the 2022 general election. Let's take another quick commercial break here on Inside Politics. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we shall be giving you a chance to call in, give us your thoughts, your views, questions, and comments. Tell us what you think is happening in this country. Give us your thoughts on the debates we've had today. The debate, of course, on the theft of public funds, alleged reported theft of public funds at the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency, and the political headwinds that investigation has been running into. Tell us what you think about the Senate stalemate over the county revenue sharing